in the meantime between the radio system and the switch in dispatch. Does that make sense?
Well, if we go with county dispatch, we would not buy any additional equipment between now and the new radio system being implemented.
Oh, okay.
If we stay on our own, we would have to buy consoles.
Okay.
And a few other odds and ends. But the radios that Mark spoke of, we're going to have to buy no matter who's dispatching for us.
Okay. Okay.
How many employees are we losing?
10.
It's
You know,
so hard.
the concern that Crescent Springs had,
Yes.
I'm sure Ellesmere will share the same thing, and that they'll expect that, or no, I'm sorry, I take that back. We're not going to be providing for Ellesmere, period.
Yes, sir.
We only provide dispatch.
Yes.
Well, I think that we're also going to have pushback from our citizens and businesses as well, because now they're going to be incurring a dispatch fee from the county, and we're probably going to have to give them some kind of tax break to offset that.
Well, we're going to be,
I think you better rethink that, Mayor.
if the retirement costs go up and our expenses go up, it could be a wash.
Right.
But yeah, I'm not.
I know. I guess I'm only bringing it up because I'd like to go into it eyes wide open, because I know all the costs are going up.
Yeah.
But it's,
Matter.
So the franchise fee was enacted to replace the 911 fee. All right, that's the 3% franchise fee that I think the last time we did it, we re-upped it for 3 years. We did it at the very lowest term that you could possibly do it for. That would be up to this body. You know, since the fee is actually going on the tax bill, if this occurs, then that was instituted for the communication center. If you no longer have that communication center, that's the relief that you could give the taxpayers.
okay.
On that side of it.
Do you have an idea what we collect?
Yeah, it's in the paper.
Okay. I didn't memorize it.
Yeah. Yeah, so last year, right, or what Steve has projected for this year, 17-18 budget is $609,250.
That would more than offset a $60 per parcel or per unit fee.
Yeah, and I think for the average homeowner, if you look at it, because I tried to look at my bills and the 3% that's on my utility bills and tried to look at it, I pretty much have the common house that most residents in Erlanger have, and looking at it, it's a wash. You know, as a matter of fact, I think that, you know, for me as just a single homeowner, right, it is. I think for your larger businesses, it'll be a huge break, because if you get rid of that franchise fee, if you remember when we instituted that, who were the big users that came in here? You know, what is the utility bill out there at UDF in those freezers? What is the utility bill at Wow Flavors and ADMs, Convergys? What is it in that Toyota building sitting out there, the Kroger sitting down here? They're paying a whole lot more than that $60 a year, so of what that would be. So I think our business community is getting that break, because I think they're the biggest user of our utilities. You know, and like I said, you know, I looked at mine. I think it's pretty much an uneven wash for ours, and of what I'm doing as a single family home.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Mr. Leonard, Chief Whitaker, any other comments?
The only thing I wanted to add, Chief Wilson covered most of it. I thought of this while we were standing here. Not only are costs for retirement, medical personnel going up, since the other cities left us and went back to Kenton County, we've had to also hire additional people, even with the loss of those cities, to handle the increased volume that we have. Text to 911's coming, video to 911's coming. Our call volumes increase every year. We're going to have to keep adding personnel as the years go on. That's not going to level off or go down. That's going to eventually go up with all the other costs also. And Mr. Blankenship, if you don't mind, I'll reply to your question. I'm a resident of Lakeside Park. If I have an emergency, I feel comfortable and secure in calling 911 and receiving good quality service from Kenton County. So other than that, I really have not. Chief Wilson covered the rest of it. Thank you.
You know, in 29 years, I've worked for every dispatch center except Boone County. True, true. Covington for 24 years, county, Erlanger, I've worked for all, as I said, but Boone. And not because I wear this badge or for the position that I hold, but Erlanger has always been the leader on my side of things. That is true. And I say that from having worked with that center, worked for it, worked under that. So my experience is it's a difficult decision, but you know what? They talked about the financial aspects of it. I'm not an actuary, I'm not a financial advisor. They told you about that. I think that states pretty clearly. I'm also not a tech guy. We can argue CAD systems all day long. My concern is, and not my concern, I guess, my approach to this whole thing is the fireman KISS approach, is keep it simple, stupid. If John Q. Citizen calls for help, can we get there? That's what I do. That's what our people do. The answer to that is, if we go to county, the answer is yes. I love the attorney in you, Councilmember Blankenship. That was so attorney-like. I loved it. My answer would be yes. I feel confident in that. Patty, I know your heartstrings, and I know how hard it is for you to accept change. I appreciate that. I respect that. This is the best move for the future. And you have to look ahead. I was telling the city manager this morning that, you know, our job as leaders of departments and of organizations are to be up on that mast with binoculars looking out ahead. We can argue numbers, we can argue tech. The thing is, we got to break it down, and we have to do what's best for the future.
Absolutely.
And this is a step in the right direction.
After I talked to Mr. Leonard, my heart was soothed.
Good. So I hope you all take everything into consideration, and I'm very confident that this is the right thing to do.
I promise this is the last time I'll speak.
Sure.
In the 10 years that I've been on, well, 11 years I've been on council, we've had the dispatch talks with county, and we always said we wouldn't switch until the timing was right, and it doesn't sound like the timing could be any more right than it is right now.
Well, when we started these talks, that's exactly the way we approached it, was, you know, maybe this is the time that we should do it, and we considered all these things, at least everything, all the information we had in front of us. And Patty, I just remembered after one of these gentlemen spoke that 10 of our dispatchers had the opportunity to go to county to work. It's totally up to their, you know, whatever they decide is up to them. They're going to certainly give them that opportunity. They're not going to lose anything as far as salaries and things of that nature. But I did, Mark mentioned the records.
They're going to lose our city.
Well, they're not going to come to the same building, but they're going to do the same job, and they're going to do it just as good as they always have.
To be members of
But there is going to be an opportunity for one or two of them to stay here in different positions because of the nature of the system. We're going to have some, we want to keep crime analysts on staff to support the things that we're still doing here, as well as some part-time clerks that they can share those duties. So, you know, it's going to be different. It is change. Like Chief Whitaker said, change is tough. Nobody likes it, but yes.
I have a comment. I've been on council, this is my 21st year, and every year we've always talked about dispatch. And we always wanted to hold on to it. We were proud. But at that time, it was cost effective and it was best for our citizens. And in looking at the numbers, and from what I've heard, good reports about Kenton County, I think, like Corinne said, this is the time. And I mean, I'm concerned about our citizens first, and it sounds like this is a better deal for them than to just, you know, selfishly hang on because we want to hang on. So I think it's very wise hearing the recommendations, and as Patty said, we talked to Mr. Leonard, and that helped us a lot too, hearing those reassurances from him. But I think now is the time to act. It seems like it's beneficial for us, and I think that would be best for our citizens. And I just wanted to make that comment because every year we would go through this and we'd always hang on, and I always was against it, but I think now I can see where I would be for this.
What about the other cities in Kenton County? Are they on Kenton County?
Yes, sir. Us, Erlanger, Ellesmere, Crescent Springs are currently the only 3 cities in Kenton County that are not serviced by Kenton County Dispatch. Is that correct? That's correct, isn't it, Steve?
We have no choice.
We could spend $2 million and then it'll happen anyway in 2 years probably, so
Yeah.
it seems like the timing is right.
Can't stay out independent forever.
It's true. It's getting a little too expensive for everybody.
Thank you.
Before I close, I would like to introduce Judge Knuckleman, if he'd like to come up, and you can drill him with those hard questions because, yeah, so.
Thanks, Mark, and I'll be brief. But I want to make a couple of quick comments. Number one, you have, and you know this, Patty, that your chiefs are awesome. They really are. What I saw the past couple of months were very competent providers of public safety for the city of Erlanger come to an issue that had to look at technical, financial, but also operational stuff for their teams. And I saw them really kind of make some go through some tough thought processes. And because financially it's a no-brainer. We can combine things together, save some money for the taxpayer. But it's always that issue of, hey, independence, it's home, it's comfort, it's like comfort food, right? Your police chiefs and your police officers, fire department members, et cetera, have been dealing with this independently for a long time. But what I saw these chiefs do is kind of task us with a lot of things, because beyond the financial side of it, they said, and Chief Whitaker spoke to it, I think, eloquently, is the fact that the culture is now different. We're about customer service at Kenton County Dispatch, because we don't believe it's a partnership, it's customer service. It's not about the county telling the city of Erlanger what you should do. And by the way, if you chose to not do it, I would be just as supportive of the city of Erlanger tomorrow if you chose yes or no, regardless of what you say. But I will tell you that we are there to be a partner and to support making Erlanger ever safer and ever more efficient. I also want to tell you that if you were to support moving forward with the county, we win. The county wins in many ways, because we continue to get the impact of Dave Leonard, who's a phenomenal guy, obviously, and has been here serving the city diligently for many years. We would love to have him be a part of our team to make sure that a transition goes well, that our service stays at a high level. And Tommy Thompson, who's now running our dispatch operation, it's not about Kenton County. It's about all the cities, the unincorporated portion, as a group, working together to support our first responders. That's what dispatch is about, and making sure that we then make the residents, when they call 911, get a fast response and a competent response at that. So financially, it's a no-brainer. We're here to serve. We're here to be partner with you all. And I can tell you that I'm just so impressed by your chiefs, and I know Mark does a great job as well, of course. But I just think I know you already know that, but it's from the outside, getting to know these guys a little bit better. It's neat to see that evolve, and hopefully we can partner together to make Kenton County even stronger. So thanks so much.
Thank you.
You let him off easy. What was that?
Turned and ran before we could even ask any questions.
Nicer
He
than you.
took off, didn't he?
I'm just kidding.
So, in closing on our side, and we've picked that July 1, 2018 date, and the last meeting we had some discussions about it. That just seems like it's the right date because of the update coming in, the radio system, the timing of ordering the equipment and doing all those things as a goal for us to shoot for. Again, that's a movable goal. It's one of those things where they're saying, oh, something may occur that this may have to happen sooner, or something may occur that it may have to happen later, or there's maybe something that occur that maybe it won't ever happen, right? You never know what glitch is going to come in down the road. But, I think what we're looking for, and I know the chiefs, and I know we have driven them crazy over the past 2 months, right? And they want to be done with it. They either want to move forward and say yes and make this decision that we're going to try to make this happen. and/or no, we're going to go back to our regular way of life and we're going to quit doing all this extra work. So, and I know the county looking at it from their side of the thing, how do we move forward and what do we do in going forward? I think, you know, a vote or something from you tonight saying, yes, let's look at that as a goal. And if everything falls into place, that would be our goal to do. If not, then, you know, we'll stop doing what we're doing right now.
Go ahead.
Well, I would make a motion that we move forward with these consolidation talks and with the projected start date, completion date of July 1, 2018.
All right, we've got a motion, a second by Mrs. Pitts. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you all.
Thank you all for all your hard work. Thank you all.
That's the end of my report. I won't go on with anything else, so go on to the next one, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. All right. You've heard the reports of our representatives in city operations. Do I entertain a motion that we adopt as presented? Motion by Mrs. Kyle, second by Mrs. Skidmore. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carried. All right, the next portion of our meeting is correspondence. Mrs. Hoffman, do we have any correspondence this evening?
I do. The City of Erlanger received a thank you card from the Lakemont Social Committee and the residents of the Lakemont subdivision. They thank the city for their participation in their Lakemont parade around the pond. Mayor Hermes shared an email received from Ron Mary and Nathan Seibert. They thank the city for all the hard work that was put into hosting the fishing derby in June. They said their children and grandchildren thoroughly enjoyed themselves. And Mayor Hermes received a thank you card from this year's scholarship winner, Olivia Beecham. She thanked Mayor Hermes for attending her school's awards ceremony to present her with the scholarship and proclamation.
All right, thank you. Any citizen or public comments? We don't have Mr. Hahn to grab our sheet. All right, first up, we've got Renee Wilson.
Good evening, Mayor and
Good evening.
Council. My name is Renee Wilson, and I've come in concerned of the exit closing for Erlanger. And I know you've discussed that, and I've been made aware that you have little to nothing to do with it. However, I do come to you to help. One concern is that there's no forward alerting drivers prior to coming upon the exits. And there should be something warning drivers about, that's my phone, sorry, about those closures. Not only that, but to also help with detours. And we're finding a lot of traffic coming onto Dixie Highway. And if we don't see it on Dixie Highway, we see it all the way at Turfway. So help. Help. We have a lot of citizens. I have a lot of friends and family that know that I live in Erlanger, and they want to know what's going on. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, I'll go to the council meeting and find out. So if you can help in any way and let me know what I can go back and tell the neighbors and friends and congregation what can be done to help in that situation.
I think Chief
Thank
Wilson is.
I have the name and number of the company that the state hired to provide signage just for these type of issues. So I'll contact them first thing in the morning and express your concerns and see if there's any more signage that they can provide to give some more warning. But it is a 30 to 60 or a 60-day project, and we tried to get them to leave them open. They refused to listen to.
Okay, that was another thing. I wanted to know how long do auto
Yeah, so I think we're getting close to the halfway mark, right? Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, just to kind of answer some of those questions, yeah, you're right, you know, we didn't have any say in that. Yeah, I think that I can probably speak for all the council members and staff, but I think we're all getting a lot of those same phone calls. You know, what I've been telling people is there's people a whole lot smarter than me that are making those decisions. And there's reason why. It seems like every time I ask that question, I've gotten a little bit different response. But, you know, ultimately what it comes down to is, you know, they're essentially saying, just hold your nose and let us get done as fast as we can. So, yeah, thank you. All right, next up we've got Georgette Nordlow. Thank you.
I got 20 minutes of freedom.
Thank you, thank you.
I'm waiting for the phone call to pick him up.
All right. Next we've got then Josh Blair. Welcome. Yeah, come on up.
All right, thank you, Mayor and Council. I appreciate the attention paid to East Erlanger earlier in the meeting, because that's where I live, and I'm very, very proud to live over there. And that actually segues into why I'm here today. My children and I, we frequent the excuse me, Spring Valley Park quite often, unless it's, you know, raining or 100 degrees outside. You know, we're there pretty much every day now that school's out of session. And having lived there for a little over 7 years, I noticed lots of open, wide spaces. And you know, as a dog owner, I thought that'd be a great place to have a dog park. And I've kind of talked to some other people as well. There's a wide open spot kind of by the playground, in between the playground and the parking lot, on the other side of the fire station. There's also kind of a smaller, flat, unused area on the other side of the location, closer to, I guess, kind of where Narrows turns right. So I had actually, you know, talked to some people and kind of, you know, got to know my neighbors a little bit. And I have 162 signatures here of people, primarily in the Spring Valley neighborhood, but also some surrounding areas as well. Because I know that there's been sort of an initiative to kind of, as you mentioned before, with the sidewalks, and that makes Erlanger very walkable from the city building to Flagship Park. And I think that would be kind of a great addition as well. I know at least on my street of Woodchase, there's at least 80 houses. And I know the vast majority have dogs, because when I walk my dog, they all bark at her through the doors or the windows. Sometimes 2 or 3 dogs and you know, yapping in a window or you know, through the screen door. So, you know, I think it obviously would benefit everybody in Erlanger. It would benefit everybody in the community. You know, now we have to either go down to 30 Highway to that park, which if you have a dog and have been there, it's a swamp. I like the park and I'm glad it's there, but it's an ordeal to come home and clean off your dog. Or the one in Burlington, which is, you know, honestly very nice, but that's, you know, quite a bit of a hike. So I think it would be nice to have something like that. And, you know, hopefully we, you know, I can't imagine it'd be that costly just to kind of build a fence at the very least. I know in the Overlook Apartments over there on the, I call it the right side, I guess it's technically the west side of Turkey Foot. They actually have a dog park there. It's just a small little fenced-in area, and it's like, you know, you need that, maybe a bench and a garbage can and some of those doggy bag dispensers we have over in Lakemont. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it would be a good discussion for one of our committee meetings. And, you know, maybe in the meantime, we might be able to start to work up some of the costs.
Sure.
To, you know, the upfront costs in creating it, but then also the maintenance costs and maintaining it forever. Yeah, there is a liability thing too. And I know that the Pioneer Park, the dog park down there, I know I've heard that they've expressed issues with liability as well. But,
sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think it ties in with any park. I mean, we have a playground, we have a baseball field, you know.
Good point.
You know, so it would just be, that's obviously not my area of expertise, but I think it'd be, you know, it'd be a great benefit to the community. I mean, I know some of you personally here are within walking distance of there, and I think, you know, so many people could benefit. And it also, you know, there's been studies to show things like that make home values go up. You know, that gives us more of a sense of community. Because I feel personally that the Spring Valley neighborhood we feel a little disconnected from. Even when you're mentioning kind of the east side of Erlanger, you talked about Brightleaf and Lakemont and Deer Chase. You know, kind of jumping over quite a few amount of houses, and so we kind of do feel a little bit of that disconnect. And I think that'd be nice to, have a sense of community there. And obviously, everybody, in Erlanger and in the region could enjoy that as well.
Sure.
So, okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, can we put that on the agenda as well? Okay, thank you. All right, that's all I have on the list here. Was there anybody else that wanted to have any comments? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to bids.
We already did that one.
And we did actually already take a motion on the HVAC, so we'll continue on to old business. Is there any old business or unfinished business to discuss? Seeing none, we'll move on to new business. Is there any new business to discuss? Renee?
I just want to know if we can put that Airbnb on the list for the next committee meeting.
Yeah, I think we do
I
have
didn't know
it.
if we
Yeah.
decided for sure on that or not.
Is
Put
that
it
what,
on-
is that different than that's different than the transient?
Because I've been,
That is? Okay. Yeah,
I've
it's
been
on
sending letters to not letters, emails, and I've been making phone calls to the Northern Convention Visitors Bureau, who's like in charge of finding rooms and pointing people in the right way for hotels and stuff. And I'm still working with them just to get information, and I just wanted to know if we can talk about that at the next committee meeting.
All right, we've got it on. Thank you.
And Jack, were you able to you said you were going to check out somebody's, like a certain ordinance that,
Yeah, I can have
Okay.
some talking points and ideas for the committee
Okay.
meeting. Yeah, there's certainly, it's certainly the issue du jour out there in the municipality world. There's no doubt about that.
how to keep it in check?
Oh, we're so fancy.
Okay.
He didn't.
All right, then, any other new business? All right, seeing none, then we'll move on to legislation. We talked about the resolution for the NKY Regional Hazmat. We're going to discuss that next month. The resolution for Senator McDaniel. Do I entertain a motion that we adopt this resolution?
What is it again? What is it again?
It's the resolution, this was the one that was recommended by the Kent, KLC, recognizing Senator McDaniel for the
his
work that he did on
efforts.
SB 226.
So some of the information that I talked about earlier when I said about the retirement system and what's going on, part of that in KLC's big movement is to try to separate these two systems. If in fact you take the county employee retirement system away from the state, the Kentucky retirement systems, and separate it from the state, right, it's 70-some% funded compared to a state system that's down in the 40s, right? So when it makes it look so bad, when you look at actuaries, they're all saying that if in fact a retirement system is funded at that level, it's fully funded basically, right? So our rates wouldn't increase that much, but now they keep it commingled with the state. So Senator McDaniel introduced this legislation to separate those or to get it done, and it did not pass. It did not get done. It got passed, but they have not done it. They have not looked at it some more. I think it's going to come up in the special session and seeing what's happening. So hopefully it's the top priority of KLC is to get these things passed. So yes, whatever you all can do to get that done, that would be a very good thing about getting this passed in that special session. Yeah.
And that would help keep the CERS amount down. Or
Yes. When they commingle the funds like that, it then drops ours down. So when it drops ours down, it puts our liability the same as the state's liability. If everybody looks back and see what the state has done over the years, they have not fully funded their part of that pension system. That's part of the reason why it is so underfunded today. However, us as a city or the county cannot refuse to pay their share because as soon as we do, they then end up suing the cities and the counties to get that money. So it's really crazy, and there's a big penalty that goes on to it, and by gosh, we have to have our money there by the 15th of the month or whatever it is. Mr. Bodie's back there, and I know that's a big thing because if it doesn't get there, they start penalties like the next day. And you've watched the legislature year after year after year not fund the state part of that, and then they commingled the funds several years ago, and that's what happened. So this is getting them separated again the way they were originally designed years ago when they started doing this back in the 80s.
All right, so do we have a motion to adopt it? Motion by Mr. Blankenship, second by Mrs. Kyle. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. All right, do I entertain a motion that we adjourn? Motion by Mrs. Kyle, second by Mrs. Sudkamp. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried, meeting adjourned.